Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect. My name is Pete and today we complete another assignment, another side quest, but I will not go into which one just yet. We have enough time to do that when we get there. Where there is an interesting question. We are currently still on the moon where we completed the Rogue VI assignment in the last episode. We have nothing more to do here, so we will leave the system and head over to the Hades Gamma cluster. And in there we will travel to the Dis system. As usual, there are a few planets of interest. The first is Nearum, where we can find some titanium. And then the next one is Raisha, where we discover another Turian insignia. There is also a metallic asteroid located in the top right of the system, and surveying that gives us some lithium. Now we can do what we're here for and travel to Klensal. We will take Liara and Tali and with that build a squad heavily focused on abilities. We need quite a bit of crowd control as well as some decent electronic skills, so those two are a good choice. And now here we are, and the first thing we can do after landing is to spend 3 talent points on Liara, and with the first one we will unlock Stasis just to grab another ability, and then we put the other 2 in Barrier. Both Tali and Shepard have no points to spend as they were with us on the last mission. Off screen I also quickly equipped the squad with suitable ammo for the upcoming mission. That includes shredder rounds against organic enemies on Shepard's assault rifle, cryo rounds which have a chance to deep freeze enemies on impact on Liara, as well as toxic polonium rounds on Tali. And now we can head out and I have a few seconds to talk about why we're actually here. You might remember Helena Blake, who we talked to on the Citadel, if not she's on screen right now. She gave us the hostile takeover assignment. Basically she wants us to eliminate 2 crime bosses to take over their business herself, and we already dealt with the first one of those crime bosses back in episode 18 on Mavigon, and the second boss is right here on the planet Klensal. So that's why we're here. We now have reached the top of a small mountain that conveniently overlooks the crime boss's base, and since he has a bit of protection stationed outside, including 2 snipers, it is now a good idea to deal with the first of those from a safe distance. As you know, Shepard is still completely untrained in using sniper rifles, which means both his damage output and his accuracy are pretty bad, even though he already has a rather powerful weapon. So taking out the opposing sniper might take a few moments. Alright, that is one of the more dangerous enemies down there taken care of. We can now hop back into the Mako and make our way down for a fight. We want to position ourselves and the Mako strategically, and this spot to the right of the camp and a bit below the enemies works quite well. We can also fire one shot with the Mako's main cannon, the mercenaries should be able to handle that, and then our main focus is on the second sniper on the tower in the back. We can use Singularity to send him flying and then with Overload and Overkill take care of the enemy right in front of us. With the rest of our Overkill ability, the flying sniper is then an easy target, and with him taken care of, we now only have 2 enemies left. We can use Liara's new Stasis ability on the one to the left, while we take out the one on the right after using Damping. Then we can wait until Stasis expires, and just in that moment hit Lift and Sabotage, send our enemy flying, and then take care of things in close combat. Wonderful, that is the exterior camp cleared, but of course we have a bit more work to do, so let's head inside. The base itself is pretty tough to beat on Insanity, and you will shortly see why. The upcoming firefight will be a bit chaotic. First of all, we have to navigate through a set of tunnels, and in this one we can already order Liara and Tali to stay back a bit. That way we can build ourselves a nice kill zone without putting either one of them in danger. And then we can open the door and start to fire wildly at the enemies in the back. Once the snipers activate their assassination ability, we move quickly back into cover and simply wait here until the first group of enemies comes around the corner. Well, hello there, we can promptly greet these two with a round of Singularity, Overkill and Overload. This sends them flying, disables their shields and gives us a nice damage boost, which should be enough to get rid of at least one of them. Wonderful, that is one enemy down. The other one here has activated immunity though. So let's quickly take cover and then hit him with a sabotage in the lift. That should once again do some damage and immobilize him, but it's probably not enough to take him down completely. We overheat and also need to use shield boost, so let's quickly hop back into cover and then peek around the corner again and settle our score with this guy. Lovely. Now begins the slightly more tedious part, because the next few enemies will not just blindly rush in here. Rushing in is also a bit risky because there are still a few snipers around, so this might become a rather slow-paced back and forth. Sadly, we fail to get the kill on the sniper here, who barely escapes with just a fraction of a health bar. But in his place another one presents itself, but also just to hide again before we can land the killing blow. Then, after a few seconds of waiting, one of them appears again, and this time there is no escape and we're one enemy closer to completion. The mercenary right here is a thankful target. He will stay behind that little structure and is therefore a good target practice for our sniper rifle. As you can see, that rifle packs quite a punch, and we can simply knock the mercenary all across the room, and we could have gone for the killing blow here had the sniper not gotten in our way. So we will deal with the sniper first. That is that taken care of. And it seems like the mercenary won't come back out for the moment, so let's switch up strategies. By positioning ourselves inside of the tunnel's exit, we have a nice elevated view over the room, and in combination with a sniper rifle we can use that to our advantage. There is another mercenary in the back who we now have a clear shot at. Alright, it seems like we have flushed this one out of cover, so let's change positions again and get a bit closer, and then let the power of the sniper rifle do the rest. We can just bounce him around the room until we get the kill. Alright, that reduces the number of enemies further. Now we can focus on the two mercenaries that remain on the left side. We also have the advantage that we now no longer have to worry about being flanked from the right, as the crime boss who is over there should stay put for the moment. Alright, the first mercenary went back into cover, but here's the second one, and conveniently enough the immunity ability just wore off, so let's once again use the sniper rifle to finish the job. Alright, since there's only one more mercenary over there, I think we can switch to the assault rifle and rush in.
I will destroy you! I will destroy you!
Now things might get a bit hectic because the crime boss joins us as well, but then again we are still 3 on 2 and we have all our abilities ready. Let us first use a lift on the mercenary here, that conveniently also affects the crime boss, which gives us a bit of time to hit warp on the mercenary, which allows for a relatively quick takedown. Both Tali and Liara go down at the hands of the crime boss, but that's not a huge problem, we can simply use Unity to bring them back. We use one medi-gel on our squad, Singularity and Overload on the crime boss, and then start our attack. a second ability wave of Throw, Sabotage and Overkill. And look here, the second crime lord is defeated. Now to finish the questline, we only need to return to Helena Blake. Now before we do that, of course this place holds a fair bit of treasure, so let's have a look around. First of all, behind this big pile of crates, this is actually the place where the crime lord was hiding out in the beginning. Here we can find an upgrade kit. Tungsten and cryo round 6, those are both pretty useful for us. Then we have 2 tunnels leading out of the back area. As you can see, however, we sadly can't use the one to the left, but the other one should work just fine. Downstairs we have a few weapon lockers. The first one requires easy decryption, and we can grab a bit of firepower here. There is one right next to it. Once again, easy decryption gets us in, and once again our arsenal grows. But we're not done yet, because there is another third weapon locker. That one requires average decryption, but the loot inside is not necessarily better than in the 2 lockers before. Before we leave, we can also grab 2 medi-gel from the aid station here, and then return back to the entrance. There is another medkit on top of the crates here, but for some reason we can't use that and we're stocked full anyway. Back outside, and we can now make our way back into the Mako. We won't return to the Normandy just yet, as with every planet that can be landed on, the surface of Klensal holds a few treasures. And for the first one we don't have to drive long, it's right on top of the small mountain here. Let's survey that deposit, and by doing so we get some platinum. 3 more survey sites await, so let's hop back into the Mako, speed things up and get going. We exit the Mako again next to a small crater, which was very likely caused by the probe in it. This probe is also one of the reasons we brought Tali along, because it requires master electronics to salvage. We find 2 very nice upgrades and then can make our way back up the crater. Depending on where you climb up, this can be a bit tricky, but then again, for those who played a few hours of Skyrim, this shouldn't pose too much of a challenge. We jump back into the Mako, mark our next 2 targets on the minimap, and then get going again. As we come down into this valley here, we can see a crashed escape pod. However, that one cannot be salvaged, so we will just pass by. Our target is close, however, it is right on top of the hill here in the back. So let's exit the Mako again and have a closer look at the mummified Solarian here. We get another leak of 1 medallion from the body and can now proceed to the last target. We have to mark our destination on the minimap because it's not marked by the game, and then for one last time get the Mako moving. Alright, we have reached a beryllium deposit, so let's survey that. And with that we are now done on the surface of Klensal, and we have now actually done everything there is to do in the DIS system. That means we need to go back to the Mako and then back on board of the Normandy. Alright, here we are, and with no time to waste we will once again activate the galaxy map. I would like to bring this quest to a conclusion. That means we will leave Klensal, the DIS system and the Hades Gamma cluster, and travel back over to a system that we just visited a few episodes ago, which is the Horsehead Nebula. And here we will enter the Fortuna system. As usual, we can once again do some planet scanning. On Meganlis we can recover a Turian insignia, on Therumlon we can find some plutonium, and that already concludes it. Now the only thing left is to land on Amaranthine, where Helena Blake hopefully awaits. Once again we will take Liara and Tali, confirm our squad, and then proceed to land. The surface of Amaranthine is pretty dark, I hope you can see everything, and it also has rather rough terrain. In short, it's one of the more annoying planets to navigate. Before we head to the meeting point, there is one mineral deposit right next to where we landed. So let's hop out of the Mako and grab ourselves some iridium. Then we can quickly mark the debris to the southwest on the minimap and fast forward ourselves through the rather long way over there. Our next target is a crashed probe. This one requires only average electronics to unlock, and we can get 2 armor upgrades from here, although 2 that I would not consider using at the moment. Once again, we can have another look at the map. Right on our way to Helena Blake, there is another anomaly marked on the map, so since we're passing by anyway, we might as well grab what's there. After a bit of a bumpy ride, we can park the Mako next to some ancient debris, and we can recover another Turian insignia from here. And with that out of the way, let's mark Helena Blake's base on the minimap and pay her a visit. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived, so now it's time to bring the hostile takeover questline to a conclusion, and we can do that by going inside here.
Hello again, Commander Shepard. I owe you a debt of gratitude. With my former partners dead, this syndicate is now mine. I could not have done it without you.
And you really think you're getting away that easily?
I killed them because they deserve it. Now I'm placing you under arrest.
Surely you don't think that necessary. Under my leadership, this organization will restrict itself to gambling and smuggling illegal technologies. These crimes are hardly worth your time. If you press the issue, my assistants are very well equipped to deal with you.
Now, with the use of 10 charm or 7 intimidate points, we can convince Helena Blake to disband her group. Since we are a bit behind on the Renegade side, let's choose that approach. The result will be the same.
I'm giving you one chance to live through this. Shut this gang down.
I cannot believe you place such a high priority on stopping such petty, victimless crimes. If I disband the gang, I walk away freely. I have not come so far to be arrested. I would die before going to prison. I would most certainly kill before going to prison. Now, do we have a deal?
Now we could accept that deal, take the Renegade points and a nice amount of XP as well, and end the quest right here. However, we could also not take the deal, get the Renegade points anyway, and get an even higher amount of XP from completing the quest and killing Helena Blake and her followers, so I think it's rather obvious which way this goes.
I was offering life, not freedom. Come along peacefully or I will take you down.
A pity. Neutralize the Spectre!
Alright, we received 9 Renegade points and now have one last firefight on our hands. First of all, let's take down the barrier here, then position ourselves near the corner and have a look into the room. We will once again face a number of mercenaries, a bit tougher than the ones on Klensal, and also accompanied by Helena Blake herself, who has some biotic abilities. To prevent her from using those as she comes into sight here, we will hit her with the damping and the lift, then with the sabotage as she gets back up, and after that she falls relatively easy, at least compared to the rest of the guys in the room. With Helena Blake down, we can take a quick breather, apply a shield boost to Shepard, then tell Liara and Tali to stay put and advance a bit further into the room. This is done mainly to draw enemy fire and lure them out of cover, so let's go back into cover and heal ourselves. Our tactic was successful, however, because a mercenary storms right at us, and with Singularity and Overload we can keep him here and then fire away until a sniper breaks things up. Singularity has caused quite a bit of chaos. Priority goes to the sniper though, because he's by far the weakest defensively, and at the same time we get rid of the annoying assassination ability. For the next mercenary we use Throw and Sabotage, then shortly after Warp to make him a bit weaker, and he falls at the very same time that our assault rifle overheats, so we can quickly move back into cover, regroup our squad and take a quick moment to catch a breath. We have one more sniper over to the left who thankfully exposes himself a lot, so we can cut his health bar in half, and then while he hides, shift our focus to the mercenary on the right. We can pop back out and throw Singularity and Overload at the general direction of the sniper. That gets him and a few others out of cover. Then he approaches, which is a huge mistake, because he runs right into a constant stream of assault rifle fire. Our opposing squad also consists of a Krogan, who we can greet with warp and sabotage. Then opening fire triggers him storming right at us, which I'm all in favor of because after all it's 3-on-1. To avoid hand-to-hand combat and being knocked down in the process, we can use lift, then kill him in mid-air, and that also overrides him getting back up. Another mercenary thankfully approaches our position. For him, a round of Singularity and Overload awaits that conveniently drags him into our little safe room here, where he is then easily disposed of, and we get a level up on top of that. Only one more guy remains in the room, so now we can take the fight to him. A throw and a sabotage to start, and shortly after a warp from Liara that should make things a bit easier despite his activated immunity ability. Alright, the last enemy falls and we get the message that our work here is done. Helena Blake is defeated and we have hopefully brought a tiny bit of peace back to the galaxy. We can now loot the place and start with the upgrade kit right here. That gives us a few ammo upgrades and we can proceed to the med kit on the box right next to it. And then we can go into the back and up the stairs because that's where the good loot awaits. At the top we can first turn to the right. At the far end we have a secure weapon locker waiting for us, and apart from her usefulness in battle, that is once again the reason why we brought Tali along. We get a few nice weapons from here and can then turn around and go the other way. In the room at the other end, we first have a technician kit. This one holds a few upgrades, including one to our grenades. Our main goal, however, is on the wall here. The wall safe locked behind hard decryption, and unlocking that not only gives us a few upgrades and XP, but also over 26,000 credits in cash. That's almost all. On the way out we can once again grab some medi-gel from the aid station, but now we are done with Helena Blake and her base and can return to the entrance. Back outside, and the first thing we do is use the level up we just received. For Shepard, 2 points go into assault training, unlocking adrenaline burst, and also bringing us closer to unlocking fitness. For Liara, 1 more point goes in barrier, and then with Tali we have the choice between offense and defense, and I would like her to be a bit more durable, so let's put the point in basic armor. Now, theoretically, we have finished our business on Amaranthine, at least in terms of the quest line. However, there are still 2 things that need to be done, and we're setting the marker for the first one on the minimap right now. Amaranthine has 2 hidden mineral deposits, both of them a fair bit away from Helena Blake's base, and we're heading towards the first one right now. And here we are, we exit the Mako right next to a thorium deposit. Let's quickly survey that, and then hop back into the Mako for one more ride. We exit one last time, this time next to a uranium deposit. And after surveying that, we can jump back into the Mako and go back to the Normandy. And here we are. We have completed the hostile takeover assignment in what I believe to be the most rewarding way possible. So now we're ready for new adventures in the next episode. Let me know where you would like to go next in the comments below. I actually don't have much of a plan at this point, so I'm always happy to hear your suggestions. For today I can say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.